What if I told you the giants, yes, the Nephilim, didn't all die in the flood? Could some of them have survived with Noah on the ark? Or worse, did they escape by slipping beneath the surface into the depths where no man could follow? Sounds insane, right? But ancient texts, including the words of Moses, may hold answers we were never meant to find. Genesis 6 verse 4 says something most of us have read, yet missed. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. After what? The flood. The very judgment that was supposed to wipe them out completely. But fast forward, and suddenly they're back. Numbers 13 verse 3 reads, "We saw the Nephilim there. The descendants of Enoch come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes." Did the Israelites just say they saw the Nephilim after the flood? This isn't poetic language. This is eyewitness terror. And it doesn't stop there. Deuteronomy 3 verse 11 reads, "Og, king of Bashan, last of the Rephaim. His bed was made of iron and over 13 feet long." This isn't myth. This isn't fiction. This is biblical mystery, and the clues has been there all along. The Rephaim, the Anakim, the Zamzumim, these weren't just tall men. These were bloodlines of something ancient, something other. So we're left with a question too uncomfortable for most to ask. Did God's flood not work? Or did someone or something find a way around it? What really happened to the Nephilim? Did they perish in the flood, or did some survive? This isn't just a contradiction, it's a clue. One that could change how we see the flood, the giants, and the Bible itself. From ancient prophecies to hidden mysteries, from the battles of angels to the whispers of wisdom, every story in the Bible holds a deeper truth. If you love powerful Bible stories, deep revelations, and mind-blowing mysteries, then you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a revelation. And if you're new here, drop a message in the comments so we can welcome you to the community. They say the flood was the reset button, the ultimate judgment. But what if I told you, not all the giants drowned? What if one of them clung to Noah's ark, and others slipped beneath the waves? History tells us that the flood wiped out every living thing on earth. But what if something enormous slipped through the cracks? Not by mistake, but by mercy. The Midrash's forbidden legend. According to Genesis Rabbah 31 verse 13, an ancient Jewish Midrash that expands on the Genesis story, Og, later known as King of Bashan, survived the flood in the most unexpected way. Og, the son of Enoch, escaped the flood by sitting on one of the rungs of the ladder on the ark, and swore to Noah and his sons that he would be their servant forever. So Noah made a hole in the side of the ark and gave him food every day. They say Og didn't rebel like the rest. He begged Noah for mercy. Terrified of the judgment sweeping across the earth, he clung not to his pride, but to survival. Deuteronomy 3 verse 11 offers a strange and powerful clue. Only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the Rephaim. His bed was made of iron and measured over 13 feet long. This isn't just a tall man, it's a relic from a forgotten era. A giant. And somehow, he exists long after the flood. Even though Genesis tells us the Nephilim were wiped out. What was Og really? The Bible calls him one of the Rephaim, a mysterious race tied to the Nephilim and other giants. Some scholars argue that Og was the very last survivor of the pre-flood hybrid bloodline, a living echo of Genesis 6 verse 4. But how could that be? Unless he never truly died in the first place. Was it mercy or a divine mystery? Noah is never described as disobedient, so if he fed Og, it must have been allowed. Could God have allowed just one Nephilim to live? As a reminder? A testament? Or maybe as a piece of a greater plan still hidden from us? One thing is certain. If this tale is true, Og didn't survive by chance. He survived by design, and the world felt the impact, even generations later. Theory 2. Recreation after the flood. When the floodwaters receded, the giants were gone. But something far darker remained. Their spirits, their influence, their corruption. The Book of Jubilees unlocks the hidden story. The Book of Jubilees, an ancient Jewish text that expands the Genesis narrative, holds one of the most chilling post-flood revelations. Jubilees 10 verses 1-6 tells us, "The unclean spirits began to lead astray the sons of Noah, and to make to err and destroy them." These weren't just echoes of evil. They were the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, the hybrid children of angels and human women, now transformed into what we call demons. Jubilees 10 verse 5. Noah pleads with God, "Let not any of them have power over the sons of men, lest they should destroy them." Even after surviving the flood, Noah feared a spiritual invasion of his children, because the Nephilim were gone in body, but alive in spirit. Did the Watchers return? Again? Hold on a second. This is getting deep, right? But before we continue, let me ask you something. If this is blessing you, blowing your mind, or making you see Scripture in a new light, then let me know. Hit that like button so I know to create more videos like this. And if you haven't yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next revelation. Alright, now let's get back to it, because what happens next is truly shocking. But here's where it gets darker. Genesis 6 verse 4 doesn't just say the Nephilim were there before the flood. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. Afterward? What does that even mean? Was it prophecy? A warning? Or a clue that the Watchers, or others like them, returned after the flood to do it all over again? Some scholars believe that a second incursion occurred, another rebellion of heavenly beings who descended after the flood, just like their predecessors. Once again, they corrupted the bloodline of man. Once again, giants walked the earth. Clearly, something brought the giants back, and the flood didn't stop them for long. Maybe the Watchers themselves were chained, but their offspring, their spirits, and their mission lived on, corrupting, whispering, recreating what was once destroyed. So the real question is, did the Nephilim survive? Or were they simply reborn? Theory 3. Underground survival. Giants beneath the earth. Some ancient whispers, long buried and nearly forgotten, speak of a third possibility. Not clinging to the ark, not reincarnated from fallen angels, but hidden, below, beneath the oceans, and even beneath the earth itself. Could the Nephilim, the hybrid offspring of the divine Watchers and human women, have escaped judgment by slipping into the underworld? Into the vast trenches of the ocean floor? Or deeper still, into the heart of the earth? The Book of the Giants, one of the most mysterious fragments among the Dead Sea Scrolls, hints at just such a possibility. Then Ohia said to Ahia, "What will you do? You have been bound, and you cannot escape the punishment. But there are places we may yet flee, into the remotest parts of the earth, or into the waters beneath." Some Aramaic fragments describe the Watchers and their offspring looking for hiding places, not just in distant lands, but in the depths of the earth and the deep waters. Psalm 104 verse 6 reads, "You covered it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains." Could the very judgment the flood meant to destroy all living things have become a twisted haven for those who were never fully human? In 1 Enoch 10 verses 4 to 6, we read of fallen angels being bound beneath the earth. "Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert which is in Dudael, and cast him therein, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever." If their angelic fathers were imprisoned beneath the earth, could their children, the Nephilim, have followed them? Not to be punished, but to survive. In fringe traditions, including esoteric Kabbalistic writings, there are whispers of Sheol, Tehom, and the Abyss, places below our world where ancient beings dwell, bound in chains, or waiting. Job 26 verse 5 reads, "The dead tremble, those who dwell beneath the waters and all that live in them." Beneath the waters, beneath the earth, there is more than silence in the deep. So what if, just what if, the Nephilim didn't die? They descended into the depths, into the places where no man can reach, waiting for a moment to rise again. The Bible doesn't lie, but it doesn't always tell us everything either. Why are there giants, Anakim, Rephaim, Zamzummim, after the flood, with no record of how they returned? If Noah and his sons were the only survivors of a worldwide judgment, then where did these giants come from? Scholars have theories, but none without questions. Was it a forgotten stowaway? A giant like Og, clinging to the ark, preserved by mercy? Or trickery? Or a spiritual resurrection, where the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim returned? Through possession, corruption, or new hybrid births? Or worse, a secret so dangerous, even the scribes chose silence over explanation. This isn't just speculation, it's a hole in the narrative, so deep, so unsettling that mainstream theology has often ignored it completely. From the Book of Giants found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, we see the text, "And they, the giants, knew of the coming destruction. 200 trees were watered, and suddenly fire consumed the garden. All the water and all the trees. Their own dreams foretold their doom. Visions of gardens burned, floods rising, and destruction from above. They were warned, they fled." Another fragment speaks of giants seeking shelter. "They dwelt in many places, in the heights and the depths. Some descended into the deep waters." And from the Zohar, the mystical voice of Jewish tradition. Zohar 1 verse 83a, paraphrased, reads, "Secrets were hidden from the generations." The Holy One covered some things with the veil of darkness until the final days. Could it be that even Moses knew more than he wrote? That the record was edited not by mistake, but by divine command? This isn't just legend. It's the kind of mystery the church rarely touches. A crack in the flood narrative that refuses to stay sealed. Ready to go deeper? Next, we dive into forbidden bloodlines, genetic corruption, and the darkest possibility of all. The Nephilim never left. They adapted, and they may walk among us still. The Bible gives us a skeleton, but sometimes the flesh of the story survives in forgotten texts, lost, banned, or buried for centuries. The Book of Enoch, once considered scripture by early Christians and quoted directly by Jude, tells us more than Genesis ever dared. Enoch 15 through 8 to 10. But now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. The children of the watchers, part angel, part human, were cursed at death. No heaven, no hell. Their spirits became wandering demons, locked to the earth, unseen, hungry, restless. That is where many believe demons come from. Not fallen angels, but the dead Nephilim. Jubilees 7 verse 24 reads, "And after this they sinned against the beasts and birds, and blood was shed on the earth, and there arose great giants upon the earth." But here's the twist. This is written after the flood, after Noah. Yet giants are still appearing, still corrupting, still killing. Book of Giants, Fragment 4, 531 reads, "They knew of the coming destruction. Some of the giants acted wisely, fleeing to remote places." Where did they go? Mountains? Caves? The ocean depths? If Moses wrote the first 5 books, if he was the one who gave us the flood account, why does he say the Nephilim were there afterward? Why mention Og, king of Bashan, as a remnant of the Rephaim? Unless Moses knew more than he told us. Unless what he wrote was only the safe version. Could the Nephilim have returned, not as giants stomping across the earth, but in human skin? Diluted, hidden, but still corrupted? Some believe that the bloodlines of the giants were not wiped out. They were absorbed into human royalty. And according to Genesis 10, one name stands out: Nimrod. Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. But in Hebrew, the phrasing can suggest, against the Lord. Was he just a warrior or something more? Jewish Midrash and some Christian scholars suggest Nimrod may have inherited a Nephilim seed, a genetically enhanced bloodline. Today we call it genetic engineering. But what if it started long before CRISPR, in the days when fallen angels taught mankind forbidden secrets? Enoch 8 verse 1 reads, "And Azazel taught men to make swords, and the cutting of roots, and the altering of creation." The Watchers weren't just mating with women. They were teaching humanity to tamper with creation itself, to rewrite what God had written in the womb. And in every ancient culture, from Egypt to Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, we see the echoes: hybrids, demigods, kings descended from the gods. Coincidence? Or genetic memory of a darker truth? Jesus warned in Matthew 24 verse 37, "As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be again." What marked the days of Noah? Violence, perversion, hybrid offspring, giants. What if the Nephilim never left? What if their spirits found ways to return? Through possession, through willing vessels, through cloning or interdimensional contact. Could modern science, genetics, AI, quantum physics be unlocking doors that were shut by God himself? And when those doors swing open, what comes through may not be human. Not every giant stands 10 feet tall. Some wear suits. Some preach in pulpits. Some hide in bloodlines you'd never suspect. The seed of the serpent still moves, and prophecy says it rises again. These stories, these ancient texts, carry secrets that have persisted for thousands of years. But here's the question: why were they removed? Why were they buried, forgotten, or suppressed? Could it be that some stories were too wild for the church? Too strange, too hard to explain? Or was it to protect believers, to keep them from wandering into myth and superstition? One thing's clear: not all Bibles are the same. While some denominations rejected certain texts, others preserved them. The Catholic Bible, the Protestant Bible, and even the Ethiopian Bible. Each one draws a line in a different place, choosing what to include, and more importantly, what to leave out. The Catholic Church excluded these texts, claiming they were not part of the canon. The Protestants followed suit, but the Ethiopian Church held onto them, maintaining ancient books as part of their sacred scriptures. Why? What was so dangerous about the Book of Enoch that it had to be scrubbed from history? Was it the direct mention of fallen angels, their corruption of mankind, or the giants who walk the earth before the flood? Could the church have erased these stories from the Bible because they didn't fit the narrative? Or maybe, just maybe, they were too difficult to reconcile with the established doctrine. Some say these texts were deliberately suppressed as they undermine the orthodox teachings of the time. Others argue that these stories were simply too fantastical, too much of a mystery that threatened to confuse or distract believers from the core message of salvation. But why would the church fear these stories so much? What's the real reason they were left out? Some believe that these ancient stories weren't just forgotten, they were erased. What if the real agenda was to prevent people from questioning the true origins of mankind? Perhaps these stories were hidden to keep control, to ensure that the teachings of the church remained unchallenged, to avoid stirring up the truth about the ancient origins of our world, to keep the mysteries of the Nephilim, the Watchers, and the giants locked away. But what if there's more to this? What if the Watchers left clues in their writings? Clues that would reshape everything we think we know about our origins? What if these texts were not just erased, but actively suppressed to protect a dangerous secret? One so profound, it threatened the very foundation of religious teachings. Was the erasure of these books done for our protection, or to keep the true story hidden from the masses? Some scholars argue that certain texts were removed to shield believers from esoteric knowledge that could lead them astray into dark beliefs, into ancient mysteries better left undiscovered. But others believe it was a cover-up, one that sought to hide the truth of the Nephilim, the giants, and the very angels who mingled with humanity. What's the truth? Were these stories removed to protect us? Or were they hidden because they contained something too dangerous to understand? So, after all this, what's the truth? Did the Nephilim survive the flood? Was it on the ark, clinging to the vessel like Og of Bashan? Or was it in the deep, hidden beneath the oceans, taking refuge in the very waters that were meant to destroy them? Or did they return afterward? Were they reborn through spiritual resurrection? Or did their bloodline continue to thrive in hidden corners of the earth? The Bible gives us few answers, just tantalizing hints, cryptic references, and troubling gaps in the narrative. Genesis 6 verse 4. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward. Could this be the clue Moses was trying to tell us? That the Nephilim, the giants, the fallen ones, never really left? That their bloodline, their legacy, somehow survived the flood and continued to influence the world? The Bible gives us a brief but haunting glimpse into this mystery, but the truth remains elusive. Is there a hidden lineage of giants still walking among us? Are the Nephilim more than just a biblical curiosity? Could the Watcher's children still be out there, watching, waiting, hidden in plain sight? These questions have haunted humanity for millennia, and the answers are buried deep in ancient texts, forgotten scrolls, and cryptic prophecies. But the more we uncover, the darker and more mysterious the story becomes. So, how do you think the giants survived the flood? Did they escape on the ark? Or did they take refuge in the deep, hidden beneath the waters? Did they return afterward, or have they always been with us, hidden in the shadows of history? Now it's your turn to join the conversation. Drop a comment below and tell us, what do you think? Do you believe they're still out there, watching, waiting? Could the Nephilim have returned already in ways we don't even recognize? And that's it for today's journey through Scripture. But the story doesn't end here. If this video got you thinking, smash that like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's dive deeper together. And don't forget, more powerful Bible stories and hidden truths are waiting for you on the channel. Click on one of these videos to continue your journey. Until next time, stay blessed, stay curious, and always seek the truth. See you in the next video.